Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Gavin from Design Tribe and I'm so excited to bring you another tutorial today. And today we are going to be redesigning a flyer I designed recently in Photoshop. We are going to be doing that design in Affinity. Like you all must have heard, Affinity was released recently as a free software. So I just want us to play around with Affinity and see how far we can be able to use it to realize the same kind of quality of images that we can realize in Photoshop. So let's get straight to it. Once you load Affinity, the first thing you want to do is to create a new project. So I'll create that by clicking on this button up here, and for this design I want a dimension of 200 pixels by 200 pixels and a resolution of 300 dots per inch, and I'll just leave every other setting here normal, like the RGB and every other thing. I'll just leave them normal like that, and I'll click on create document. So once that is created, I want to now begin with the design by creating the background. Like you can see here, the layout of Affinity looks very similar to Photoshop, and even some of the shortcuts are practically the same shortcuts, though not for everything. I think this is my actually my second time using Affinity. I just tried it a couple of hours ago by trying to recreate something I designed in Photoshop within Affinity to be sure that it's something that is actually usable. So I'm just going to be showing you how we can recreate that same design here in Affinity. So once you open up Affinity, it has different layouts. This is the first layout. This is the vector studio. If you want to design a logo or any vector file, you just have to select the vector option. And if you want to design anything that has to do with photos and maybe a pixel based image, you will now go to pixel. So this is the vector side is like Adobe Illustrator, while the pixel side is like Adobe Photoshop. So now we are going to proceed by creating our background. And now, before creating that background, Affinity functions just like Photoshop. You have to create different layers for that. So we are just going to come down here to our layers panel, and when you see these various buttons down here, this one that is called the pixel layer is the button that you use to create a new layer, same as in Photoshop. So we are just going to click on that button to create that layer. So while I was going through the various tools in Affinity, unfortunately I did not find the gradient tool, and that is one of the tools that I used in creating this background in Photoshop. So I had to improvise to create this background without using the gradient tool, and this is how I did it. So I already have my color here, so I'm just going to copy the color code, Ctrl C. Then let's go back to Affinity, and I'll take my brush. So once you select the brush tool, this here is the hardness or the softness of the brush. Here is the flow of the brush, and here is opacity of the brush. So I brought the hardness right down to 2%, and then here I have my flow around 26. So once that is set, I'll now come here on my color picker, and I'll apply that color by replacing this color code here. I'll just paste the color code by pressing Ctrl V, and once that is done, I'll click on OK. If you now look at the color picker tool here, the color has already been applied. So now I'll just use my brush, and I'll gently brush down here like this. So I think this is okay. And now I'll create a second layer, and then I'll bring in the second color. So the reason why I'm separating the layers is so that I can have control on each of the colors. So now I'm going to come here on the color picker tool, and I'm going to paste in this color, Ctrl V, and I'll close it. So that color has already been applied. So now I'm just going to paint in the color from above like that. So the reason why I had to choose the soft brush and then make sure that the flow is low is so that the transition from one color to another can be somehow smooth, like it's actually a gradient that I applied and not just the brush. So once that has been created, the next thing I did was to bring in the image. So I'm just going to go to where my image is found, and I'll open this, right click, and I'll click open with Affinity, so it can open it up in a new tab. So once it's opened, now if you look up here, you see that it's actually a raw image. So I actually brought in this raw image on purpose so that you actually see how the camera raw filter in quotes in Affinity works, because this is an equivalent of the camera raw filter in Photoshop, though the camera raw filter in Photoshop is a little more complex and has more advanced tools than what we find in Affinity. So once you load in your raw image, there are a lot of things you can do. So these are the various options you find down here. We have the normal exposure here, you have the black points, you have the brightness, contrast, clarity, saturation, and all of that. But since this image is going to be used in the background, we don't really need to do all of that work. So I'm just going to click on develop, and once I click on develop, it's just going to convert it into a normal JPEG file, which we can now proceed with. So now our goal now is to separate this image from the background. So once the image is like this, I also did not easily find the image trace tool here, because normally in Photoshop you just have to go to select and you take select subject and the AI in Photoshop will do the work for you. But here I couldn't find that, maybe because it's my first time using Affinity. So I just use the normal select object selection tool. So let me just scout for that. Okay, yeah, this is it, selection brush. So I'll click on that selection brush and I'll just zoom in a little more, and I'll just use that to draw like this to make my selection. So it's just like this normal selection tool in Photoshop. So once this is selected, it'll be good to go. Right now, what you're going to do, different from Photoshop, if you here you can also add a mask. If you add a mask, it's going to add a mask, so it's going to hide the background, but you can't be able to carry that image from this panel into the project file. I tried doing that, but it was a little complicated. So what I could easily do was to copy this image and then carry it into the panel where this is our project panel here. So what I'm going to do now is just to press Ctrl C on my keyboard, and I'm going to come to this other panel here and then click here and create a new layer, and then you press Ctrl V and it's going to paste the image into it. So oops, it did not do that. So let's just go back one more step. It's a little complicated, so let me go back to the move tool, right click, take copy. I'm sure it's going to copy this time around. So once I select this, I press Ctrl V on my keyboard, so it has now copied. So you can now scale it down by just clicking on this button and bringing down like this. So I'm just going to position it somewhere around here like that. and I'm going to take down, let's say I change the blend mode here to soft light, and then I bring down the opacity slightly to say 75%, and I'll click on OK. So now we are going now to bring the next image. So we'll just follow the same process. I'm not dragging the image to drop into Canva, into Affinity like I will normally do in Photoshop, because I'm still trying to understand how the system here works. So it's a little complicated. So I want to retouch this image a little before we proceed. So let me just zoom in. Okay, so now since we are in camera raw, I'll go to the basics panel. I want to brighten up the image a little, so I'll just go to brightness. Let me increase the brightness a little. Scroll down. I think I want a little more clarity. Shadows and highlights. Yes, I want to brighten up the shadows. So I'll click on shadows here. Oops, it's lagging a little. So I think this is good enough. Then the next thing I want is I want some details. So I'll go to details and I'll increase the amount a little, something like this. Let me go here. Under curves, just going to add an S curve. So let me click on this point, bring it up slightly. Then I click on this one and bring it down slightly, just to create a little contrast on the image, like that. So with this, I think it's good for me for now, though I can't find the color mixer like I would normally have it in the camera raw in Photoshop. So but this is pretty much okay for a start. So right now I'm just going to click on develop, and once it has developed, I'm now going to go back again. Let me zoom this out. Oh, zoom in first. I'm now going to go again and I'll use our object selection brush. So now I'll select like this. So once that is done, you go back again to your move tool, select the move tool, right click, select copy. Once that is copied, come back now to your project file. You now create a new layer, and once that new layer is created, we now press Ctrl V to paste in the new image that you just copied. So I'll reduce the size like this, I think to something like this. Something about this size will suffice. Okay, I think I need to increase this one a little more, about that size. Great. Now let me select this one. I want to wipe out some of the details from this down part. So now I'm going to apply a layer mask to this, as we would normally apply in Photoshop. So this is a layer mask button, so I'll just click on that and you see a layer mask has been applied. So what I'm going to do now is I select my brush tool, paint brush, and for a layer mask you want your colors to be black and white. So since I want to erase this down part, I'm going to use the black color. So now I'm going to just dab around here like this and remove that part like that. So I think this is perfect right now. So I'll now begin to add the other elements of my design. So I'll bring in the text. So it's life, cure, and A. Control C. Now for the text tool, there are two types of text tool. There's artistic text tool and there's a frame text tool. We want the artistic text tool. We'll just click on that. You create a new layer again, and then you type Control V, select the text, and then you can just increase the size, or you can use the drop down button here for the size you want. Yeah, I think this size is what I want. And the fonts I want here is Beavers, so I'll just select that and make sure that I use the bold version. So I'll have to close up the text a little like that, and I'll click in between the L and the I and I'll turn it a little like that. Take your move tool and I'll bring it down here like this, and I'm going to change the color of this text. Let me just increase the size a little like this. I'll change the color to white. So I'm just going to click up here on my swatches. If you don't find the swatches panel, you come to Windows, I think panels, general, then you can click on swatches to activate it. So I'll just click here on the white since I want the white text there. So that's it, white. Then I'll hold my select this layer first, move tool, select this layer, hold the art to create a copy. Then I'll bring in the next text, Q and A, Control C, Control V, select that. I think I'll make it same size, Beavers, and bold. Then for this and symbol, I don't like that symbol, so I'm just going to look for another font that has a more interesting and the sign. Yeah, I think this is okay. I'll just click on that, then I'll create some space in between these by holding Alt, and I'll use the right arrow key like that just to space that out a little. Select all the text using Control A. I'll make it white like that. Then I'll go to my move tool, just extend this to something like this so it aligns there. I'll bring this up. Yep, so I think this is good. Now the next thing I want to do is to add let me show you what I want to add some glow to the text. I want to add this glow to the text, so let's figure out how that works. So you select the text, you come here to effects, right? Normally on Photoshop you just have to right click here and you see those options, but here you have to come to effects here and then you come, you see bevel and emboss, outline, 3D, inner shadow. What we want is the outer shadow. Okay, so this is a gradient overlay also, so we can just use the outer glow here. And for this outer glow, I'm going to be picking a color that is slightly greenish, like that. So once I pick that color, I'll increase the radius slightly, like this. Then bring down the intensity a little. So I think this can work. It might not be as accurate as what I did in Photoshop. So I will select the next one, FX, come again, outer glow, double click here, pick the green color again. Let's bring this towards the side. Then increase the radius, increase the intensity a little. Okay, so I think we are good with this, and I'm going to close that out. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to add this circle where we have the text written "Ask any question." So I'll come here. This is where we have the shape tools. I'll use my ellipse tool here, and before doing that again, you still have to come up here, select the last layer, and then you click on the new layer here. Now hold my shift key so I can create a perfect circle like this. And once that circle is created, I think I can just pick this color. Yeah, I'll use this color for that. Oops, undo. You always have to come back here and select the move tool before you can move an object. So undo, so I'll move this to this position and I'll leave it there for now. Then we're going to use our text tool. Just type in what we want. Let me just copy the text and paste. Control C, Control V. Just break this line to the circle line. Like that. Increase the font size to something about this. Then for the fonts, we are going to use Inter, like that, I think. Okay, then we reduce the spacing. Use the move tool and we bring it here. Hold shift and then, nope, don't hold shift, just reduce the size like that. No, not that, move tool. So just bring this okay, I've been clicking on the wrong layer, so let me go to the text layer, select a text, I want to select the text, but it's selecting another layer. Yeah, I want to be able to edit the text. So you see, it's a little complicated. Okay, this is what I want to select. And okay, so it's actually not responding properly, so we might just have to leave it like that. Let me zoom out. So we might just have to leave that for like that for now, and let's just proceed with the other elements. Now I added some strokes from this logo on the background, so let me just bring this in. It's in. I have to take it down, yeah, I think to this layer, and I move it to this edge like this. And then I'm going to drop the opacity right down to about this. I just wanted this to fill up this space. Okay, so once that is done, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to add this other information with Reverend Ivan Amatagana. So let's copy the text, Ctrl C, come back here. So I'll go back to the top here, create a new layer, then use my type tool again, artistic type tool, Ctrl V, select everything, choose Bebas, give it a white color. I'm just going to increase the size to something like this here. I think size is 19. So the move tool is a little tricky. If you don't select it properly, you cannot move an object. You have to click it twice. So go to the rectangle, create a new layer. Let me say I take this blue color here, and for that new layer I don't want a stroke, so I'm just going to take off the stroke here. Then I'm going to draw my shape like that. Oops, undo. You always have to select the move tool. It's really annoying. Like that. Move this here. I don't want this to be bold, so I'm going to come here and I'll use the book, and I'll close the tracking a little. Okay, so I'm going to select my move tool and then create a copy of this text like that. Select it, now type in width like that. Take the move tool, then I'll bring this here, right click, and I'll take arrange and I'll bring to front. like that. So I'm sure this is good. Oops, go back to move. Okay, so now I want him to be, let me bring him above the Q and A. Yeah, I think that is good. So now our goal now is to create this. So it's pretty easy to create in Photoshop, but here it's a little funny. So we are just going to try and see how we can do that. I don't want this. I want this white. Okay. Then here I want it to be 2 points or 1 point. 1.5. Yeah, 1.3. Then I'll now come here and I'll draw like this. So I can move. Oh, sorry. Use my move tool. Select this layer and move it to the side a little to create some more space here. Move this to the side. Move this here. Move this here. Then remove this here. Okay, so now I want to create another rectangle within this one. So I'm going to create a new layer above it. And for that layer, I'll turn off the stroke. I don't want the stroke. But for the color, I want this yellow color, like this. I'm going to create like that. So let's zoom in so we can better position it. So now just type in monthly, new layer, artistic text tool, monthly, select that, increase the size, and then give it a black color. Now move it. Oops. What's happening? Let me switch the color to black. Then reduce this size to this. Okay. So once that is done, I'm going to type the next text here. Oops. Select this. Hold my Alt. I move to this position. Every last. Select that. Give it this yellow color. And I'll drop the size. Something like this. Now move it to the top. like that. Then hold out, bring this here, type in Tuesday, like that, give it a white color, but here I'll change it to regular, like that. Select the move tool, increase the size to something about this. Oops, I think regular is not working. I'll switch it to whoa. Okay, let me just zoom out. Let me see if I can select this again. It appears I can't select that. Let me just delete it and redo it. Tuesday, think book will go. Okay, move this here. Okay, so now I'm going to add 6 p.m. GMT. Let's take this like that. 6 p.m. I want this to be bold, and I want it in the yellow color, like that. Okay, then I'm going to select this, bring here and type GMT +1. I'm going to reduce the size like that. I want to rotate it counterclockwise. So once that is done, I'll use my move tool. Right click, I'll go to transform. So rotate left like that. Position it here. Reduce the size to something like that. Then I'll just nudge it to the right like that. Okay, at this point I want to cut out this part like this from this rectangle, so I'll just select the rectangle like that, then I'll add a mask to it. I'll use my rectangular marquee tool, just make a selection here like this. Once that is made, I will make sure my foreground color is set to black. So let me just select black up here, then I'll press Alt backspace. Oops, Alt backspace doesn't work. Okay, let me flip the color and see what happens. Control backspace still doesn't work. Control backspace. Okay, let me try using the brush instead, and let's see if it's going to work. Paintbrush. Here I'll make it a hard brush, and I'll increase the flow to maximum. Now select that layer. Okay, and that's it, it's done. So I'll use my rectangular marquee tool, I'll just click again inside, and that's deselected. So now I'm going to go behind again. I think above this layer, above the gradient layer, the background layer I created, just going to select this rectangle. I don't want an outline, so I'm going to turn off the outline. Then I'll draw like this. Choose a white color. White. Oops, what's happening? I don't want. Oh, it appears the software is frozen. Just have to wait for a couple of seconds. Just move this down here, change that color to white. I still don't understand why the color is not changing. Let me turn off that. I want white. Okay, so it's now white. The next thing we'll have to add is the microphone down here, and the Facebook icons that are floating. So let me just get the Facebook icon into the design. Okay, just drop it down, just position one somewhere here. I think I have to move him this way a little, slightly. Yeah, position this behind his image. Yeah, like that. No, it's not what I wanted. Like that. Okay, then I'm going to create a copy for art. Bring one here, bring another up here. So this one I'm going to reduce the size to something like this, then this one the size to something like this. Then I'm still going to create a copy here, enlarge this one, let it just be somewhere here. Now I'm going to add different blur effects here. I'm going to go to pixel, filters, blur, Gaussian blur. For those of you who are familiar with Photoshop, you're familiar with the Gaussian blur. So I'm just going to apply the Gaussian blur here. for this one I want it to be a motion blur, so I'll go to pixel, filter, blur, motion. That's motion blur, and I'll move it like this. Then I'll change the angle to 90 degrees. Let it be as if it's bouncing on him. Take that. Here, motion, Gaussian blur, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Not too strong though. Then I'm going to create a copy of that. Reduce the size like that. Position it somewhere here. Really make it really small. That will be the name for the channel. Let's say artistic text. Ivan Amatagana channel. Select that. Give it a black color. And the font here is Inter. Inter regular. Unbold it. I don't want it bold. Why is it only bold? Okay, let me drop the size. Give it a black color. Still don't understand what's happening. Let me see. So this is what happens when you are using a software for the first time. You may not be able to understand everything that's happening, but so like I said, this is my second time using this software. Let me see, black up. Let me just turn this. It's like it has a stroke. I don't want a stroke, please. Maybe it's the stroke that's affecting it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to delete this like this, and I'll copy this other text from above. I'll copy this one, and let's see if that will work. Let me just change the fonts. Select all. Let's change the fonts and see. Hope you are enjoying the video so far. If you are enjoying this video so far, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you are not yet subscribed, and let me know if you want me to do more designs, more videos with this software. Okay, so once that is done, I'm just going to drop the size to something like this. The workflow is completely different, not completely, but somehow really different from Photoshop. It's a little tricky, so we have to just add the mic, and then we do some color grading, and that will be good. So let me just drop this in. No, I don't want it. Let me just open it from here. When you drop it like that, it may come into Affinity. Let me turn off this. I don't want this. You too, I don't want this. Okay, so let's go back to the microphone. We are going to use our object selection brush. Just brush like this and take the part we want for the microphone, not like that. I think I want just this part like this. Yeah. Okay, so right click, go back to your move tool again, right click, you take copy, and you come back here, new layer, you paste it, Ctrl V, then transform, right click, go to transform, flip horizontal, scale it down like this, and there you have the microphone. So now I just want to do some little adjustment before we proceed to do the color grading. I want to have some blue, a little more blue behind his face in this angle. So select that, take my brush, make it a soft brush, and I'll bring down my flow like that. Reduce the size. I'll just dab around here like this. Okay, the flow is really slow. Let me just take it to 56. I still can't see it working. Let me see. Blue. Okay, just dab there like that. Then I'm going to add the curves adjustment layer above this layer. So I'm just going to use curves here. So you see this is an adjustment layer. So I'm going to select curves like that. I'm going to brighten it a little. Bring this part down slightly. So I'll take this, delete this, right click, I'll take make clipping mask. So it's clipped just to this layer. So I'll now come here, I'll mask, add a mask to it. Oops, before doing that, maybe let me add a mask to this layer before I clip it. Let me add a mask to that. Now press Ctrl I to invert the mask. So I want white and black. brush. So I just want the face area to be a little brighter than it is. So just dab here to take away some of the shadows from the left side of his face. That. Then I'll right click here and I'll make create mask. Okay, I think that's good. Then the next thing I may want to do is to add a levels adjustment layer. I'll still use curves. Now I want to darken the background so the glow can be more visible. I think something like this can work. Let me drop the opacity a little. It's a little too strong. Yeah, I think something like this works. Then now I'm just going to do some final touches. Go to the top layer and create a new layer. I'm going to press Shift Control A, Shift Control Alt E to stamp the visible layers. So I want to stamp all the visible layers. So I want to stamp all the visible layers. Now I will now go to Pixel. I'll go to the camera raw. So I'll go to filters. Camera raw is called develop. So I'll click on develop. So now I'll come to details, refinement and radius. I'll increase that to something like this. Noise addition, I'll add small noise, just a little noise, to have this grain effect on it. You don't want to add too much, just a little will do. Go to basic. I want to go to contrast. Just increase the contrast a little, like this. Turn on the clarity a little, and I think increase the vibrance slightly, and I think that's it. So I'm going to export this version. So to export, you just go to file. Before doing that, click on develop. So you just go to file, export. So I'm going to export it to my desktop. Or export to desktop. Have I named the file? Just give a file name 77. I'll click on OK. So we are going to do a comparison. Let me just close all of this. This is Affinity, and what is Photoshop? This is Photoshop. So let's just compare the two. So you be the judge. Which one do you prefer? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching this video to this point. If you enjoyed this video, please do well to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and let me know your thoughts. If you want me to do more videos like this, let me know so that I can do a little more videos on Affinity, on how to design in Affinity. Until my next video, stay blessed.